So for today's semi-try-hard gameplay video, we're going to jump onto the ladder with some good old-fashioned, high-quality mid-range Sorcerer. Just like always, we're going to play 2 games, see how it goes. I'll kind of talk through the strategy, though if you have watched me play before, you've probably heard it because I love to play Sorcerer. This list is a little bit different. I've been doing some experimentation. If you've paid attention to deck spotlights in the past or previous gameplay videos, Galen is out. I'm actually testing Mace of Encumbrance because it is a great tempo play and it works out to be pretty fantastic on the ward creatures. So that has taken Galen's spot, at least for now. And I also, because I've been seeing less and less control since the Tullius Conscription Journey nerf combo thingy. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I've been also dropping Wrath of Sithis in favor of the Werewolf, the Whiterun Protector, so... Looks like we are going second against Warrior, a very popular and powerful choice as of late.
I keep a spare blade in my
we get alright. We have the ring, but then coupled with that we had a 1-drop, so we can save some ring charges and go right into 3s. Depending on what he plays here will probably dictate which 3-drop we decide to develop. I think an empty board probably gets a Mammoth. But if it's something small enough, yeah, we definitely get the Mammoth here. If it was something small enough that we could threaten trading, then we could drop the Daggerfall. That might make them trade into here to not give us Daggerfall value. You know, if it was like a 3-2 or something. Otherwise, empty board, I think you take the aggressive play here. Similarly, Bleak Coast
Do your worst.
is going to be the play here. But now we are going to go ahead and contest this side. So we kind of took control of the field lane with his presence. He ran over here. So now we have Bleak Coast, which means whatever he plays here is likely going to have to go Shadow as well, because he does not want to give me the opportunity to kill something first and then kill this, right? Because that would give away the spirit value, but we do have the negation, so depending on the size of the play, we might be able to foil that plan.
Stronghold.
Oh. Okay. That's actually pretty solid. So what do we want to do about that? Two 3/3s is enough to make sure that he can kill this the following turn. I think we just get rid of the guard. It's kind of sad that we don't have our own here, but it is what it is. Not much we can do. And because we have the ring, I feel like it's probably we just Mystic Dragon, because then we can saturate with 2 3-drops the following turn. He's going to play at least one other creature, if not multiples, and then trade in here just so he keeps this value. But I want to ensure we have control of that field lane, and with Sower of Revenge being an option, he could drop Sower and then make the trade. And if that's the case, then we would use our negation there, but we would still want 2 creatures. So we'll see how this goes.
If we die together.
I smell the stench of the living.
Okay. Well, we know that we're going to go ahead and do this. So let's punch him in the face. This is clearly getting negated because we don't want to give him the drain, if possible. And we also don't want this to be able to drain, so using a Firebolt here, maybe not super ideal, but this means that he essentially doesn't get the drain unless he has a charge creature. And then we will drop a spirit. We're going to drop the spirit over the Daggerfall, mostly because even though I want the value here, one, this is enough to threaten lethal. But two, if this transforms and we still need to trade into it with the spirit, the dagger will still trade with the 3/4.
I'm ready for anything.
Alright, so he does have the charger. So he will drain for 3. He will drain for 5, so he is now looking to stabilize, but he's got to give us cards to do it. But with our silence gone, that's potentially problematic, because that'll be a very, very big drain creature.
By Arca's beard, this day will be mine.
Prophecy here would be great. Sadly, 'twas not to be. But the silence, however, is pretty fantastic. So we can go ahead and
You must be cleansed.
make use of this wonderful top deck. I'm not even convinced at this point we make that trade. Hold on. Because we could just value trade here if I want to pull something off the board. And he's got 7 on the board, so we need to do 13 more damage. These are going to hit face no matter what. It's just deciding what to do with this. And there's a big part of me that feels like just going face might end up being the answer. Because that also does put him within lightning bolt range. Makes the rest of our runes very problematic for our opponent. We are going to dagger it either way, just because if we do go face, we don't want this to be able to trade in and not die, right? We don't want to give him a value trade. So, while it's not really needed for reach, because either way we get him down to 4 or less, it's really, I don't want to give him a value trade here. So, we've got them in lightning bolt range. We have a lot of threats on the board, and we're probably so high that they can't kill us from hand, so far, so good. I don't know if it's coming through on the video, but I am shaking like a chihuahua on a cold, windy day. I don't know why it's so cold in my office right now, but it is, so. Our opponent seems to be taking their time, and rightfully so. We have put them in a very tricky predicament, and so they have to weigh their options. Because even if they have, say, like a trade here and like a scimitar to trade here, right, that would then leave them with 6 magicka, and they would still need to deal with the other 2 4/4s on the board. And at least one of them will likely be more like a 7/7, so. Warrior doesn't necessarily have a ton of options magicka-wise left over. So, like, not saying their deck runs it, but it's clearly a non-traditional deck if they're running this. Things that could save them, theoretically, would be a scimitar trade. This trade's here. Then whichever one gets buffed, they could use 4 of their leftover magicka for Fell the Mighty, and then they could use the 2 that's left over for something like Barrowstalker or Protector of the Innocent. Just some sort of guard to keep them down. If they were doing that as well, they would actually trade here because they would want to not deal with the breakthrough. But it turns out they just let it go. Maybe they were thinking and couldn't come up with an answer. Maybe they rage quit, who knows. Maybe they had a bad case of sudden onset diarrhea. We will never know. So let's go ahead and dive right into another game. I mean, that was a pretty textbook snowball-y game. We got control of the field lane early. Like, a little bit earlier than usual, but passing on turn 2 is kind of problematic for our opponent. So this time we do not have the ring. We are going first. We are against Warrior again. Again, very popular, very powerful archetype right now. And we're going to send all of this back because it's even more imperative that we find 2-drops, and it wouldn't hurt to find a Crown Quartermaster. And we found at least a 2-drop on the draw, but no Crown Quartermaster. Hopefully this will survive and we can actually see the value out of the solo mace now.
I smell the stench.
It's not likely to survive though. I would be shocked if we don't eat a Battle Rage Orc here. Battle Rage would be not fun. Alright.
This should be good.
I think we still go with Daggerfall. We're gonna take some damage as a result, but if we draw a 2-drop, then that gives us better saturation.
Come at me! Bollock!
Or we could just draw another negation. It's actually pretty good for us.
The day shall be ours.
It's pretty good indeed, so we can go ahead and take the trade. We can take this. And then to make things even better for us, we can go ahead and do that. So we're going to take a little bit more damage, but should have control of the board shortly.
The silent guard with you.
Another silence is always welcome. A couple of different ways that we could do this, but I think that the best option... I kind of wish this was any other 2-drop because it's making me not want to play the mace. Because we don't need to double shackle. If the mace is going to go here, we would just want it to trade. And then that would shackle this. I mean, the other option is we could just choose to sacrifice that and not play the mace, have the harpy here, and then also develop, say, like Haunting Spirit. It's also entirely reasonable.
Welcome, friend.
It's also entirely reasonable. Let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's take this trade. And we'll develop a Haunting Spirit. Because even if the Spirit then has to crash into that, we'll still retain the statistical value. I don't like giving up creatures if I can help it, so losing the Wordcrafter there, a little bit of a bummer, but we've got 2 tomes out of that Daggerfall already, so right now our plan is just don't die, because we vastly
You must be cleansed.
win the resource battle here. Alright, that's still acceptable, so that takes that there. This takes this. Now we just have to decide, do I want to lose this to this running it over? I think the answer is no. We have a backup silence, so I think that we're okay using that negation there. The other option was we could just develop a creature, but then we'd for sure lose the spirit, and we'd probably take some face damage as well.
Do you not fear me, mortal? You should.
It's actually pretty good for us.
The city is safe in my hands. No one can keep them safe from me.
Really tempted to put this here because it gives me even more creatures that survive. So if he has a trick for that and tries to push Sower, I could trade, and then Worm King, or I could do something else. But I think that the correct play is to have that go there. So we just have to hope for like no silence shenanigans, no cast out.
We stand united.
We're gonna bolt this just because we don't want to deal with Wood Orc Headhunter having charge here. I would normally consider throwing that face, but we really don't want to deal with Wood Orc Headhunter having charge.
Confound you!
And we're gonna go ahead and just hit this because Worm King's pretty good. Also, that ordering was a misplay. Should have done the damage here and then swung just because of prophecies and then put this here.
Do you not fear me, mortal? You should.
Walker watches over me.
So we have 6, 11, 13 on the board. We can go as high as 15 if we silence this. So that is 1 shy of lethal, sadly. We can, however,
You must be clever.
silence this. So I could mace to shackle here, but we're gonna get another guard on top of this, so I think the tome is entirely fine.
Your time has come. Confound you! Confound you!
We just have to hope that he doesn't have like 13 points of burst. But he's only got the 1 creature on the board. It's not an orc, so it doesn't help with any sort of headhunter synergy. And we had 2 guards. Feel pretty good about that line. If the board state was different, then I could have seen the mace play just because we would lose him, but we still would have got another guard and shackled. But yeah, since the metas went a little bit more like mid-rangey, I've been having a lot of success with the Protector, and though we're not using it here, the Mace of Encumbrance has...
We must protect the Night Mother!
Oh, well, we will use it here now, because we have the victory. But the Mace has been pretty good in terms of tempo plays for us, because you can do stuff like that, and then, like I said, if it's on a ward creature, it helps you trade up. Galen is great for the longer games, but things have not been going longer because, again, I've been seeing less and less control decks, so... there you have it. Mid-range, Sorcerer, again, nothing super shocking, just a little bit of modifications to the lists that I have been running. I'm still a big fan of Worm King's Agent. I know some people swear by Bone Colossus, but as you can see there, tempo play helped. The guards, I think, certainly helped. Not that they were necessary. We did have some shackles, but... again, it's just quality board presence. Yeah, that's it. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.